Okay, welcome everybody to the 54th Knowledge Seekers Workshop of the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute. And today, as our usual procedure, we'll be speaking with Mr. Keshe of the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute, as well as some other knowledge seekers that may be part of the show as we go on. We hope to hear from one of them, Luca Lucci, who will have some interesting concepts that he would like to show, and I hope that I can illustrate them during the show for him, as he doesn't speak English as well as some others, and he'll add into the conversation to help out with the descriptions and so on as we go along. And we're going to start off this workshop, as we will with the following workshops, with the 5-minute video of the new Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute University promotional video. And that's been put together by a volunteer team from the folks that have been volunteering for the Keshe Foundation. And I think you'll recognize the voice, or maybe you won't, because it's so well tuned in here in this video. So let's go ahead with that.
Where does humanity go from here? What have we tried to do? What if there is more, much more? The Keshe Foundation is proud to announce a new way to bring humanity forward through technology that brings humanity in line with the natural operation of the planet and universe itself. The new science and technology discovered and developed by the nuclear engineer Moran Keshe centers upon the use and control of magnetical gravitational fields. This new body of knowledge opens the road to hundreds of potential applications, which offer solutions to most of the fundamental problems of the world, such as water, food, environmental contamination, and shortages of energy. The Keshe Foundation is proud to unveil the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute. Nestled amidst the beautiful shores of Bari, Italy, the Institute is poised to become a central hub in the spreading of plasma technology and knowledge. With its state-of-the-art 21st century facilities, the Institute will be able to provide students and staff an immersive way to learn the plasma technology, to be the leaders of the new generation of scientists and plasma engineers. The Keshe Foundation has opened the door to the world for peaceful usage of technology that is independent of the limited resources that are available on Earth. This is an understanding of how everything works together in harmony in our universe, and it applies to everything from the smallest to the biggest, from atoms to galaxies. We all are able to collectively work together in pursuit of knowledge, innovation, and solutions for our society. This learning environment is new to the world, where there will be no test to confirm your understanding. The knowledge of everyone will be respected and allowed to flourish in a nurturing environment. Hands-on testing and experimenting will be widely used in conjunction with roundtable discussions to bring all opinions and knowledge forward. Students will be introduced to a change in the ethos of working in collaboration. Students will experience firsthand how we share knowledge in a free and open manner. Graduating students are expected to share the knowledge they gain from the university within their respective communities and nations. All formal teachings, lectures, and presentations will be in the English language, with technology available for immediate translation. Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute will be offering 3-year executive master programs for undergraduate degree students and 1-year executive master programs for graduate degree students in the following fields: space transportation, new plasma technology, health, agriculture, materials, energy. The health section is designed to make students able to live in space without the need to return to Earth. To this end, the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute has found processes for many diseases including ALS, cancer, coma, epilepsy, multiple sclerosis. Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute will offer online teaching courses which will enable anyone, anywhere around the world to enroll and increase their knowledge and understanding. Students will have the opportunity to direct their work towards commercial spin-offs and seek funding through the help of the Keshe Foundation. The access to the new science and new technologies is openly available for peaceful use to the benefit of mankind to make a better world today. Now you can be part of the changing world and the new knowledge. All commercial spin-offs are intended to be open source and patent-free. This is part of the core ethos of the Keshe Foundation and the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute. Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute will have its official inauguration on April 21st, 2015, with courses commencing soon after on May 4th, 2015. The students of the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute will be the leaders of the future who will make changes in all areas of space technology, science, medicine, agriculture, and energy. Anyone is able to apply, but acceptance is through invitation only. No prerequisites are required. We will be accepting approximately 250 students for the 3-year Executive Master's Program and 120 students for the 1-year Executive Master's Program. We welcome humanity's participation in the knowledge of the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute. Where does humanity go from here? That is up to you. Apply today.
Okay, there we go. That was a lovely opening to the workshop, I think. And okay, so now we can go over to Mr. Keshe and we'll present some of the things that we have for the workshop today. Hello, Mr. Keshe, are you available? I know you're quite busy today. We'll try to catch you in between throwing things into a van and stuff like that.
Back. Hold on one second. I've got to close my things. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Good morning, good day, and wish all the best to anyone, anywhere around the world at any time you listen to this session of teachings called Knowledge Seeking. We are on the verge of major changes in the Keshe Foundation, and today, as Rick said, the whole institute moves down to Barrie. All the laboratories, all the reactors and everything else that the knowledge seekers, and has been the work of developing this technology over the past 40 years, from papers to the boxes and the reactors, everything is on the move. And hopefully we find a permanent residence as a scientific organization in Barrie. We've been told by the Italians there is a lot of excitement in such an opening of the institute, and we understand that this is a springboard for opening of the Keshe Foundation Space Institutes in different locations around the world. During the opening days of the Keshe Foundation, we'll have the Chinese delegation who will try to find the way to start teaching in China as an institute. Mr. Hui will be with us. And on the other hand, as a lot of you are aware, Arman is setting up the Keshe Foundation Institute, or is trying to set up the Keshe Foundation Institute in US. At the moment, our major project is to start the institute in May, and then sometime during this coming year to open up the Sierra Leone SAT University as part of the institute. At the moment with Ebola, there is a problem. We cannot move. We are frozen in that section until we get access into and people are prepared to move in and teach. Otherwise, we have to teach remote three-dimensional, and this is part of the program we are considering now here in Italy. The changes are going to be very direct. Teachings are going to be very direct. And at the same time, in our teachings, you will see a different way of gaining knowledge. We'll change the process of you have to remember things and sit for exam. With this process, you understand what you enjoy and you add to the knowledge of humanity. There will be an exam, and that examination is for you testing what you understand or you understood and what you think you can contribute at the end of your project. The structure is not set to copy. The structure is set to teach, to think independently as you are in a space, how you find solutions and how you interact with new things. This is very much different than what is happening in the institutes and universities around the world. You have to follow what the teacher says and this is what it is. All of us in the space are students of universe. None of us has seen in physical term what is about to happen in front of our eyes or in our senses. So the structure of the university is not to remember that you can go back and look at the reference book. It is to understand and use the intellect to be able to survive or create a condition to survive in a space at any point. Nobody asks you what is 2 by 2 in a space, and nobody will ask you which university you graduated. And nobody will ask you if you are a doctor, professor, or a layman. These things are man-made level of ignorance. So what we teach is totality, everything that you might need, and in a way, we take you into the desert of universe. When you're in the desert, you don't know where the water is, how you're going to survive, and what the conditions you're going to meet. So we teach the basis of understanding of the work of the universe. It's upon you how you teach, how you understand, and how you put your prejudices and preferences aside, that the people you teach to in a coming time, in a space, they remember what you taught them, then it allows them to stay alive in that position, in that situation, in a space. There are no manuals in the space that you can go and try to see what the manual says. As we see, different people are working in different ways and making the same kind of materials, but in different conditions and environments, and they all come more or less with one way or another to the same and near enough the same and different conclusions and results. So we are not educating followers, we are not educating a cult. We are educating man to stay alive and understand the ethos of the universe. And if we succeed to educate one man to understand that he can stay alive in a space in the next thousands of years, we have served our purpose. So, as we are teaching in different aspects, and as we know there are a lot of forces in the background trying to stop this process, we ignore and we invite them for collaboration. We see, even in the past few days, that we opened a channel that you can apply to be a student. A number of people who are very much like to damage the foundation have applied. We are watching. You can apply as much as you like. You are invited, but you will be ashamed to be invited. You need to submit your passport with every application. And we check across, and once it's checked by the team across, it'll come to us and it goes to national security checks. We get a full file, so please do not come here to disturb. Come here to learn and add to knowledge. We start seeing a pattern of number of people who like to be part of the structure of teaching, and we respect you and you're welcome. In the coming days, the acceptances will go out. In coming days, we will release the name of the people who are accepted and will be here, that you can establish a line of communication with them if you like, that they teach you. You can choose your, what we call, tutors from the center in the institute. And you can choose a number of them. Each one of them has different speciality and different interest. So you have to spread the knowledge. This is the way the operation of the foundation will be. The students teaching from the first week, as we did with this first series of the knowledge seekers. So the development will be very rapid. From the first week, you have to set up your own, whatever you like, Facebooks, live stream, Skype, to teach. We have acquired 2 further servers in the past 24 hours to add to a total of 4 servers to be in support of the foundation, that we can meet all pressures for a time at this moment. So we are foreseeing developments, and we expect to see the development to increase very rapidly. One thing to understand: if you come to an institute, come to enjoy to be part of the Keshe Foundation Universal Committee, not as an individual from a nation or from a language. As you've seen in the first group of knowledge seekers, it's the knowledge seeker who isolates himself from the group, not the group from the individual. You come to add to our knowledge. We are not here to judge what you add. Nobody needs to prove what they learned, because in time, what you learned, which you put into effect, counts. I say this from my own experience. I worked and targeted to become a nuclear engineer, a nuclear physicist. And in gaining an access and proving to deserve to be as part of some 13, 14 students in the university to be accepted, then by the second year I was disillusioned, because nuclear industry in 1970s could not deliver what I could foresee. I left the industry for over 20 years. But in the background, I added to the knowledge. I developed the knowledge. And then I came back to it. And you see the fruit of it as the Keshe Foundation. If I failed in following the procedure because I could not accept the procedure, does not mean that the procedure was wrong or I was wrong. It's just 20 years down the line, it has proven to have some results. So it's the same with you. We don't expect you to, because you join the knowledge seekers or learn 1 year or 3 years, to stay in the institute or work within the environment of the technologies which the foundation delivers. Maybe in 20, 30 years, or maybe if you teach even a line of sentence to one person that it brings them to save their lives in their space, you still have achieved without you knowing the target of the foundation. As I explained, from now on, we are going for instrumentation. Developing instruments that we can give safety, protection, and resources to the knowledge of the man in the space. My knowledge is limited into the plasma. But when it comes to other aspects of technologies, as I always say, I'm ignorant. Because I have worked in one target to be able to cover the totality without going into the details to become narrow-minded. That's why in the foundation, in the institute, in the applications, we look for multidisciplinary people. Doctors who've done the traditional university courses with alternative medicine applications into their what you call portfolio. Because it means they have opened the door to look at alternative, so they are open-minded. We are looking at engineers who have multiple discipline in computers and mechanical, in the space and gravitational. In field of farming, in field of agriculture, we are looking for multi-discipline people. Because, as I said, when you accept an alternative, you are open to alternatives. So this puts aside the people who are very narrow-minded and they have to protect their degrees or PhDs or doctorates. Unfortunately, by Italian law, I have to accept the title if I teach. And we try not to use the title, but it's meaningless. You have to realize your own potential, not us, and how you can contribute into humanity on Earth and in space. The whole program will start in teaching from very basic fundamental understanding of the plasma. Doesn't matter how many weeks it takes. The ones who think they are bored after 3, 4, or 5 weeks are the ones who have started becoming narrow-minded. If you think you can understand the work of the plasma in space in 5 years or 10 years, every day studying it, you have become another professor with narrow-mindedness. The world of plasma is the world of universe, and it has no end. Every condition, every opportunity raises a question to understand, and understand how little we understand of the totality. So, if you are coming to prove you're an expert in certain fields, I think you'll be very disappointed. Because we do not need experts. We have experts, and the expertise comes in being able to understand the totality as much as possible. We do not address no one on the floor of the classroom by doctor, professor, or the rest. We put a one hook outside the university, and it's a public hook. Means you hang your names and your titles on the hook before you enter the building. You will see the hook when you come in. So, for the first time in the ethos of human being, we learn as equal and we teach as equal. according to our own intelligence and understanding of the totality. And in reality, none of us is wrong. We just explain the position, what we understand, the way we understood it according to our intelligence. I listened to the explanation of Mike in Mike Harris section today, like this week. It was very interesting to understand how the stages of development of the teaching of Mike was in this presentation. Not sure of plasma, still trying to find a home with electron vibration and motion and a plasma. None of it was wrong, but it was connected to two different worlds, but somehow trying to make sense of all of it. This is a stage I used to be when I understood the totality till I understood it as a whole. As I was on the forums yesterday, I was explaining that you have to look at in the plasma condition. There is a lot of misunderstanding, or not a misunderstanding, not being well educated to think all the time in one way, which is the origin of the creation. And we keep on going back to the matter state and trying to find an answer for a plasma in the matter state. And this is one of the biggest problems we will face in the Institute. Trying to, in a way, they say when you dream in a language which you start talking or learning, is the time when you start understanding the language. In the same way, when you start dreaming about the plasma, is the time when you start understanding the plasma. I listened to a lot of explanations by different people about the plasma. They're all correct, they're all about the same thing, and it's like very much like Italy. Somehow all the roads end up in Rome. Somehow all of you work into the same direction, but you go through the bends and mountains and not understanding and losing your way and trying to find them back to Rome. There we are. The work day starts. So what I do and what's the purpose of this workshop today is two things. First of all, you are all welcome to join the Institute as a knowledge seeker, as a student. I am a student too. I learn from you. Secondly, if you want to join, go on the Keshe Foundation website, go on the Spaceship Institute and fill in the form, and you can join us on 4th of May, or you can join us in October of this year. There has been a lot of emails and requests to open the door on the opening day, 21st, 22nd, which belongs to the Spaceship Institute, to public, and we responded mutually. If you are traveling from around the world, which we know a number of people have started organizing themselves to be here for that day, you're welcome. But please inform the foundation how you and when you are coming, that we have an idea of the numbers. Just send an email through the same application form that just put in there, I'm coming, your name. Understand that the auditorium is limited. You will be facilitated in the same building in different sections. But in a way, it's not the physicality which counts. We are there as the soul and the spirit of mankind. On the 23rd, which is official inauguration between the partnership between the Keshe Foundation and Leuven University, a number of dignitaries have been invited. So there is a very limited room for the institutes in the main auditorium, but we'll facilitate live in every classroom around the building. We can facilitate up to 1,000+ people, or around that figure. You're all welcome. This is your home. And is the place where the future of your children and grandchildren and yourself will be affected by. It's a temple of knowledge and not a sect. And it's a temple of knowledge for the universe and not for mankind. So, if you want to apply, now from today we officially open the line of applications. And at the same time, if you want to join the foundation in celebrating the opening of the institute and meet with all the Keshe Foundation people around the world, we start at 10:30 on Tuesday the 21st. And then on Thursday the 23rd, the workshop up to about between 8 until 9:30, 10 o'clock will be as normal. And then we switch over to the live presentations and opening of the institute. There'll be a number of speakers, and at the same time, it'll become part of the culture of the foundation. As we never stopped broadcasting during the past 54 weeks, be it summer, be it Christmas, we will not stop the same with the inauguration and the teachings of the foundation, which happened to coincide at the same time, together at the same day. Any questions about the foundation and the institute? If there is, we try to answer.
Mr. Keshe, I think there is a question. It says, I am Portuguese, but I live in Belgium. I've heard that people that live in Belgium are not welcome. Can we address the issue, please?
The people from Belgium are welcome. But not this in this occasion. The problem is my wife is Belgian and my son is Belgian born. I cannot say my wife to stay outside. If you are from any country which is part of what we call the planet Earth, which has no borders, you are welcome. The situation with the Belgian government is that they have tried to poison us twice to kill. Our national securities are very wise. They are watching all movement of the Belgians around us. And at the same time, we have to protect ourselves. For this reason, we ask the Belgians, do not attend the function. And do not apply for a place in the institute till the situation which is created out of your control and our control with your government is settled. There are high criminal investigation going into arrest of number of people around the world of the Belgian origin, which have planned and dictated the murder of me and my wife. This is the reason. We had a guy who was born in Congo and was here as a Belgian. We are not picking and we are not isolating. We are trying to protect the institute. Passports will be rigorously controlled on entrance. We monitor everything. A number of national securities will be available, will be present. If you attend and try to enter with a Belgian passport or any origin we know, and there are a number of people we have made a blacklist of attending, will be refused entry. because you do not carry the ethos of the Keshe Foundation as people, and not to do with the Belgians. I have received telephone calls from Belgians who say they've been with us for so long, how come they can't attend? I said to them, we celebrated the opening of the Keshe Foundation in Ninov 3-4 years ago. And it was mainly Belgians, even though we had 22 nationalities present. We do not ban, we just request for the Belgian citizens, please do not attend this presentation. In many ways, is if you respect our lives, you do not so. And does not matter how close you've been to the foundation, it is sacrosanct. We will not allow Belgian nationals, citizens, to enter the university, the institute. And we monitor everything. And I do apologize from the Belgians. It's a position which your government has put, and even today, yesterday we received some horrendous news from Belgium in respect to the work of the Keshe Foundation, which they have allied with. They have forced a couple of more countries to proceed with them. But at the moment, we keep quiet because there is a huge criminal investigation internationally going against a number of people in Belgium's highest level. It is out of the hand of the Keshe Foundation. We asked for an international criminal court to look into the situation, and we have to see what the outcome shall be. We had 2 Belgian citizens as students, or supposedly Belgian students. We greeted them with open arms and they poisoned us to kill us. So there is no integrity. Any other question?
I don't see any other questions in our chat right now. Anybody else on the Skype call with a question, or in the GoToMeeting? Regarding the university, at least. All quiet on the front, I guess.
Sorry,
Oh,
I'm typing feverishly into the live stream chat. Okay, so there's a question I see here in the chat of we could do it later, we could do it now. Is there any questions about the university? Anybody on GoToMeeting that has any questions about the university or on live stream? We would definitely love for you to support us in our cause, because it is humanity's cause, and you can do that by sharing the graphic that Rick showed at the bottom of the links page on the Spaceship Institute. That you can help promote the vision of the great future with the plasma technology, and help us all become parts of the plasma of the universe instead of just of Earth.
I'll just put
Okay,
that
I don't
link
see any
back
questions.
I'll put that link back up briefly. There is another question, but it's regarding the eclipse tomorrow, so it's a different topic.
I think we can move on, Rick. I don't see any questions unless Mr. Keshe has anything else that he wants to state about the university.
No, it's just that we'll speak about it as it comes every time we teach. And
Actually, I do. There's a question in the live stream right now that it does bring up. Can somebody be a part-time student?
I'm a part-time student. None of us will ever be a full-time student.
Right, because it's not
We,
a point of being present, just being present, right? It's there. You're there to understand and learn.
in a way, the what we got to do is trying to teach people at a time of their convenience, and in so many ways, those who become the upcoming knowledge seekers in the institute, more or less a lot of them know or have decided that they want to spend their time in serving the humanity. And it is very important that we understand what we do and why we do it. As I was telling my sister a few days ago, people at my age start looking for retirement. And me at my age, I start the whole structure of a new institute and university. Why? Why do we put ourselves in this position? Because we value other people's life in the future more than our own. I've written my books and I can lie around and enjoy my life freely, without being on the threat of being killed at any time by whatever condition which is out of our control. We do it, and the other scientists do it because we look to be able to advance the future generations in a protected way and the correct way. How we do it, the way we do it, all of us will do it part-time, full-time, and we'll never mind do it, and without knowing it, we serve it better than we know we are doing it. So you have to decide, you want to be a part-time, or you want to join in and go out and come back in. None of us know how we will serve the humanity, in which way and how. We had a beautiful woman from Japan join us. I met her 2-3 weeks before the opening of the first group of knowledge seekers. Extremely, extremely kind and straightforward woman. In the name of Yukoko. She came here because she wanted to serve her nation in so many ways, to find a solution for Fukushima. She stayed with us for less than 1 term, but in that short time, she had the courage to take a flight and go in the heart of the Fukushima accident in the laboratories to test and to show, because she believed in what she was doing was correct for her nation. And it's the same with us. We believe in what we're doing is correct for humanity. And as a consequence of what she did, now we are one of the leading organizations in respect to Fukushima solution. She opened the door, she showed the Japanese way, how things are done. The Japanese government looked at it, they studied it, and they came back through different channels. And interesting enough, we were talking to Rick and Vince just before the start of the program. I explained clearly why we cannot be directly in Japan in the chat we had with Mike Harris a few days ago. And we have heard since that interview this possibility that Iran can be taken off the terrorist list, and that way I do not become a terrorist even still being a nuclear physicist, that we can attend Japan directly in Fukushima in testing. So a part-time, somebody who was here for a few weeks, managed to change the direction of a government without her even thinking that it's possible. She was with us less than 2 months, 2.5 months. And now her government has spent tens of millions in past 12 weeks, 10 weeks we know of, in testing every aspect of the Keshe Foundation on-site in Fukushima. In fact, what she has done in a simple way, she came to understand how she can help her nation, and she has done it. The report is supposed to be out on the 1st of April, directly from the TEPCO, or from the Office of the Prime Minister of Japan, or from the ministry. You see her face on the live stream. And this beautiful lady has caused a government to move. So you can be here for a week, or you can here 10 years. You never know how and when you serve your nation, your humanity, or creatures in space by the knowledge you gain in the institute. There is a point so much with the move she made that the international policy is to be changed as we speak, maybe within the next 72 hours, that facilities can be made for us to be live present in Fukushima development. And if the American government makes a move to allow this movement, one of the live stream workshops will be carried out in the Fukushima in the plant. We've been assured we'll be allowed if we manage to get the, what you call, restriction movement.
Can I bring up a point there, Mr. Keshe?
Yes.
This whole restriction on the movement is based on what we are doing from the Western culture and from others as well. And it's not that you haven't been around to try to help. I can see everything that we have done over the years is to try to get the knowledge out so people like you, Coco, can come and learn from the workshops and still perform the same tasks. So I just want to thank you for that. And with the restriction being lifted, it would be a great thing for humanity, because then we can do things a lot faster.
The point is,
thank you.
You're welcome. The point is, we do not know. We'll go faster or we'll go slower. When Yukoko suggested that she wants to go to Japan and test, the knowledge seekers like Alman and Marco and others who are online, they know how we put things together in a few days that she could take with her. Very simply, she went there and
Everything okay there? Yes. Yes. Okay. Maybe the moving truck hit the Wi-Fi or whatever it is. Yeah. So I mean, it was very interesting to see. When that started with Yukoko, how she came, and then it was announced that she was going over there back to Fukushima to try to do what she could. It was a extremely grateful situation for myself. Sure as I live across the world, whatever she was able to contribute still affects me as well. And even though I'm living halfway across the world from where this took place, a lot of us are being affected by this situation from Fukushima. And we have somebody that's willing to go into the middle of it from that country to be able to help that country, which is helping everybody else. So big thank you to Coco if she's listening. And I'm sure if anybody from the Spaceship Institute has anything to say, like Armin or Marco, this would be a good time. Thank you.
Definitely. She was a sweetheart. And, we remember, we were sitting when she was doing the testing, and she was so brave that she didn't have a proper gloves and proper, outfit, to touch the radioactive material. And we're amazed that the woman has 2 kids. She didn't think even a moment, and she did the test maybe 2-3 days, and without even thinking. And that's huge, guys. And we all thank you, her. And she's a great person. And really thank you from all the knowledge seekers. Thank you.
Okay, we're still trying to get Mr. Kesh back here. He did warn us that it might be a little sporadic today with the connection. So we'll just have to deal with it as we go along. Okay, we can probably start on another topic perhaps, and carry on here.
So I'll get Armin's take on using the GANs and the nanomaterials for our own uses in terms of remediating or changing things. Now that we've been talking about this for such a long time on the workshops, that is there anything that you can add, Armin, to advise people what they can do with this, with the GANs, and continue to experiment? I don't think a lot of people understand that there is really nothing that they can do to really harm themselves until they're able to understand what they're able to do with it, as in putting things together in different ways. As we've seen with the Spanish and the Chinese workshops, it's been fantastic learning experiences for myself, and I'm sure Mr. Kesh is grateful for the learning that he's received from the Spanish and the Chinese as well, because we're always learning new things from them and from Mr. Kesh. I see he's back. Mr. Kesh, are you back?
Yes, we have a problem. We don't understand how it happens, but it happens every time. I'm on Skype. A lot of time never happens, but it happens during the teaching times. So a lot of people are interested in what we are teaching. So what I was trying to explain, doesn't matter if you're a short term, half term, whatever, is what you contribute back into humanity and in the totality of the space program. We know a number of space scientists from a number of nations are waiting to see who moves first to become a student. The space technology has its own way of working, and the spaceship program has its own way of working. And the two sides of matter state motion and a plasma state motion have to come together. We do not live sidewise from each other, but in totality we become one. We live in a matter state, which is the space technology, and we operate through Plasma, which is a spaceship program. Somewhere down the line, none of us is wrong and none of us is fully right because none of us understands the totality as a human race. The problem comes when we accept scientists who, due to their lack of understanding, think they're 100% correct. And that's exactly where the block comes. As I said in the Mike Harris show, if you listened, I am the only space technologist who is banned from the NASA chat rooms. And it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing how somebody at the level of teaching is seen as a threat for an industry that in space at the present time is obsolete, has become obsolete. It's the same when we say when you become a professor, you become ignorant. It is the time of trying to protect, what do you call it? A lost race, as I call them. So we have to accept and share knowledge in different ways. I appreciate that I enjoy heavily the way the Chinese bring knowledge on the table. The openness and freedom of being able to do. So we see what it goes and how people teach, but the Institute is open to people who are humble enough to accept that they need to learn and are not there to prove a degree or whatever. And especially for that reason, we are accepting a number of people with no scientific background because we find them absolutely pleasure and treasure to work with. We have Armin. We've seen how he has changed the course of even teaching for a lot of people around the world. With no scientific background, but understanding the work of the universe in his own way. So the degrees don't count. Part-timers don't count. If you want to come for a month program or 2 months program, we look into it. We maybe do month courses for people who want to be for 1 month with the foundation to strengthen their own knowledge. Language should not be a barrier. We are looking into it. That you can learn very rapidly in any language you are in the institute. But it takes time. It's a technology which has to be brought in that becomes convenient for you to learn simultaneously as we talk. But the biggest problem we see now, we looked at the number of systems, is we use a language that is not being put in vocabulary of the computer systems. We prefer people who can translate the language in courses to their own people. That's why I've invited Mr. Hui from China to come in and see how we can bring this together for Chinese. You will meet him in the presentations after 21st, 23rd, we hope. And you will meet a number of education scientists and high-level power to try to find a solution for this problem. Any other question? We try to devote as much as possible the next week, 2 weeks, to the opening of the foundation. And
yes,
carry on.
I do have a question, and just to get the point across a little bit clearer, do you have a headset for your phone, Mr. Kesh?
Pardon?
Are you on a headset?
Yes, I am. Am I that bad?
It's it's just drowning out a little bit. It doesn't sound like it's actually using the headset for some reason.
Okay, I look at my preferences. I've learned this from you lot. Look at audio video. I look at the built-in microphone. It says, yes, you were right, but my system does not see my thingy. Wait for a second. You were right. I'm talking down the microphone, the system. Okay, we are getting
Oh,
connected.
geez, that's better.
Much
That's-
better. Yes,
idea,
thank
Vince.
you. Thank you very
Thanks.
much.
I had to.
I heard the beeping and it was interrupting Mr. Kesh there, and so usually we don't hear that when he's on his headset.
Can you carry on with the conversation for a minute, please? I'll come back to you. Just
Sure.
give me a minute. Yeah,
I'm
carry
sure
on.
we can talk about headsets. Yes.
No problem.
Speaking of which, your sound is pretty tinny there, Vince, compared to your fancy headset that you had before, but I know you can't do everything at once with the GoToMeeting and so on. It's interesting, though. What a difference in the sound. You're right.
Yes,
It's sort of,
I try to pick up on something like that because with our experience of having 54 workshops, 54 workshops, and that's just on the knowledge seeker workshops. We have many others that by now we have to roll with it, and we know the cues, right, Rick, to be able to point out little things like that, and just to get the communication a little bit clearer. Of course, everybody has to understand that this is a system of live teaching, as in we're not in a studio presenting and publishing and directing this. This is all live on site from wherever we are. So just keep that in mind for everybody at home.
and speaking of which, do you have Luca on the GoToMeeting at this point, or did he connect with that? Should I bring him into the
I don't
Skype call?
see. Yeah, you can do that.
Let's
We have
bring
room
him
in
into
there,
it.
so
I'll just let
Come
him
back
know
if
first.
you want anything, if you want me to interrupt you.
Okay, just
Let us explain why this might happen a few times today. And the reason being is that we were supposed to move in the past few days, but as you know, Italians are very reliable in the timing. So trying to move us for past 3 days, they suddenly decided today is the day they're going to do it. So they delayed it, and now while I am trying to be with you, I'm trying to organize containers to be loaded outside as well. So time to time today I have to disappear. I explained that to Rick and Vince before the program. I do apologize for this, but if you want the institute to be ready by the time you come, we have to get it there. And today is the time they decided the Italians are going to start getting it there. So carry on.
okay.
Yeah.
We just brought Luca Lucci into the Skype call here. Hi, Luca. Can you hear me?
Hi, Rick. Yes. Good
Good.
morning.
Good. And I'm just showing some of the images that Luca has made in the last while. Some of these are his previous images, and he's been fairly inspired by what we call the Armin device. Armin's device, his little nano-coated central wire and coil arrangement, somewhat similar to what you see on the live stream video there now. So Luca has been quite interested in this and he's come up with different configurations for reactors and different ideas, working with this as a core idea, this Armin's core. And part of what I'm putting words in Luca's mouth in a way here, because he's not so good with English but better with other languages. So I will try to explain a little bit about what he would like to show, and he can correct me maybe as we go along here.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So the way I understand it, Luke, I'll put on the one drawing that you have of your apple and Armin's tube, and it'll be just a few seconds before it comes up on the live stream here. But this is one of the images that struck me that you came up with originally a few weeks ago now, I think. And I know your thought process has evolved since then, but I think it's an interesting image to have a look at. Just waiting for it to come up on the live stream. There it is there now. So we have a picture of an apple at the top. We have a picture of Armin's tube in the center. And then we have these input devices and some kind of nano-coated detector on the bottom. And the idea here is to find the maggrav rhythm or resonance of the apple. And if we assume there is a field around that apple and that these devices can become part of that field or perhaps project that field and include the apple in it, then it makes sense if we can measure that field, then we can measure the changes in the field as well when the apple is present or not present. Is that part, Luca, is that pretty much
Yes.
how that
Yes,
part of
yeah.
the process went?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
And then,
Basic idea.
right, so you came up with some devices that were not necessarily working devices, but prototypes to illustrate what the concept would look like, I think.
Depend what you looking for.
Right, exactly. So there's some interesting looking configurations there, and some different examples of the coils that might be used to be an Armin type coil in the middle of this reactor setup and so on. So you've had this thought process as you've gone along, and you've found different images on the internet that seem to correspond with what you visualize could be going on with this reactor setup and so on. So I'm finding all that quite interesting. Now let's just go into your more recent stuff that you're working on here.
Yeah.
Let me see.
You have the
Here's the first simple drawing that you have. It seems like to me that you're starting with very basic concepts. You want to get at the core, literally, of this idea. So we have an open and closed, different shape. You're trying to come up with the shape of a reactor that'll incorporate these concepts like that you've seen on the internet. For example, this image of the what's called the solfeggio frequencies and Fibonacci numbers and so on. Go ahead.
Because there are polarity, up positive and down negative polarity. This imaging show a space inside who my attention is this space in the middle. For me is important. In this image, I show the space inside, how I can build a field around. Yeah. Yes. Yes. The ring, you put the ring up or down in respect of the equator, because the polarity of the tube interact with the column, central column. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Is a three core inside. Yeah, because the flux of the reactor, uh, each core goes in different direction. Uh, my mind, my, yeah, is a different strength field. Force create different layers in the field. The field, the field for can move because this field are rotating. You must to find a find a field with attract with the atmosphere um, for move. And yes, because
Rick, just please just interrupt for one moment.
Yeah, my
There's
sound's
just
on.
some issue with the sound. Please.
Sorry, my
address that?
microphone wasn't on in the live stream. I'm sorry about that. I seem to have missed my voice on the live stream. Okay, it's back on now.
That's okay. The audio is available and it will have your voice in it. So when it's available, you can listen
Okay.
to it and get what Rick said. No problem.
We'll patch it back in on the video as well.
is this system in my mind is like a cell, a plasma cell, personal cell. Is a symbiosis. It's like a symbiosis because I'm inside and you know, I'm inside and this living is a living system and I am inside, you know.
Okay,
It's a
so
symbiosis in
when
my mind.
you say inside, do you mean it would be a small reactor and you're placing your attention inside, or do you mean it would be a large reactor and you're placing your physical body inside, like the little
Inside.
stick?
in my intention, I put my body inside and interact with this system through my amino acid.
Right.
My desire, my intention, my love.
So it wouldn't matter the size of the reactor, you would still have the same response with it, basically, to put your attention and yourself inside.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yeah.
Right. And you show it as a livable matter environment in the interior of the reactor, but protected with these fields around the outside,
Yes.
multiple fields, multiple layers.
I can build around the center. Who I like, a living system.
Right. And all of this would be flowing through the center and to the outer edges and back to the center and so on, I presume, according to the gravitational fields. And you had another picture of the plasma with Armand's tube, just a diagram, and I'm wondering a little bit about that. Is that just part of the same concept? Sort of more...
This image?
Yeah, it says Armand's tube on it and plasma, little stick man.
How in my mind, he comes to me, is various time, is a timeline.
Okay, it's sort of a development process for you. You go through a process of understanding as you go along.
Yes.
Right. That's interesting, and I think it's good to get your ideas out and let people know about them through your pictures and descriptions and so on, because that's part of the process. Seems to be once we let people know about certain ideas, then new ideas can come in after we've shown people the concepts and so on. So it's an interesting process that you're going through here with relatively simple materials, and yet you've gone through an actual process of getting to the point of coming up with this very simple looking concept, but it's it could be a very powerful design for anything from a small GANS reactor right through to a Starship design, perhaps. It has a universalness to it, it seems, because you've gone into some of the principal ideas that you feel when you make these pictures, right? Is there something else you want to say about that, or something I've missed? And maybe Mr. Kesh can make some comments on it after that.
No, for me it's okay. I have a question eventually. I don't have a same 100% imagine. My picture is not complete.
Right, and so you're looking for input to help complete your picture.
The inside part is not totally clear in my mind.
Okay.
Or as I think the ring can be a start process, can be used for starting process by eventually little current application, maybe.
And you were mentioning that might help separate that central plasma area, that the void area.
Inside, all inside the core is nano coated. The external part of the core is copper, or no, can be copper or plastic or matter state. The ring, I think, must be nano coated in the external side and the internal side. Just it.
Good. Okay. Mr. Kesh, have you followed along with that, and do you understand sort of what he has in mind here?
In a way, yes, but it's part of the things he shows is what we call we've seen this, the way you do the coil and you try to measure his field strength and you try to see how it affects its environment. These are the points that a lot of experiment has been done about it and on it. And strange enough, everyone comes with a different result and different conclusion and different line of thought. And none of us are wrong. What I was interested was the glass bottles which you showed. Can you explain to me why, what you in fact trying to show with the glass jars? You know the two glass jars?
Yeah, let me get those up here just a second. Okay, right, there we are. Let's take a minute to come through in the live stream. There's the one image of the two glass jars. You know what he's speaking of, Luca, I'm sure, with the CO2 GaNs and the copper oxide GaNs in each jar. CO2 in one jar and copper oxide in the other, it looks like. And you've joined them together under one sphere as well. This is a demonstration unit, so far as I know, although there is a saying, the model of the thing is the thing itself, so in a way it is the creation. Could you say something else about it, Luca, about the pictures that are coming up there now, the earlier ones?
My first approach to the in this picture, my inspiration was the fish pump inside the box, fish pump reactor, and I'm thinking in the I'm looking for attrito for look at this. One side, the other side is sorry. One side is left direction, other side is right direction. the opposite direction. And eventually, I'm looking to the system. I see is a brain, you know. We have two separate part. In the center, we have a mix zone, you know. Can be a use of this system. Was my first approach on the plasma working. Can you show more photo, another photo of the system? There are draw of this system, Rick.
The drawing of the two solenoids?
Yeah, it's
Yes,
a sphere.
Okay, the one of the picture of the sphere, or the drawing of the fields?
The drawing.
Okay, there's a drawing with the two solenoids, the two Armin.
Yeah.
Okay, yep, that's on now. It'll come up in a few seconds here. We have our good old live stream lag happening. It should be up there now, I think.
You show before you show the picture, the drawing. It's a sphere with a solenoid. It's a sphere.
Yeah, we have this.
Let me explain to you something very interesting when you start showing these kind of systems. You showed in a picture with a nano-coated wire literally being spun around a coil shape with, I think, was a black pen next to it with a coil shape on it. You have that one. There is something which keeps on coming up. Elia Kostova keeps on saying Kundalini reactor of Lucca. What is this Kundalini reactor? Can you explain to us?
This reactor. But
there's an image I'll put up on the live stream now that says Kundalini on it and shows the I think this would be the Fibonacci sequence, or perhaps the solfeggio frequencies as a waveform. Is that the way to explain that? Is
this the one with the wire winded around the copper wire?
Well, that was what I was just showing, but since the word Kundalini came up, he had this other picture with Kundalini on it, so I'm assuming that's the picture that Elia is mentioning. That's on the live stream now. It shows a central light in the very middle, and then a series of sort of waves as part of the... It's sort of an apple-shaped field, basically, with the core in the middle being...
I'm not getting it. It's not here yet. I can't see it.
Try refreshing your live stream, because
Yeah,
it should be up by now. Sorry? What's that?
I think they were talking about a previous picture. One of the pictures with the copper tubing wrapped around the center tubing.
Ah,
that's
yeah,
what they were
okay,
talking
I see it.
about.
Okay, I
That's-
see the Kundalini, yeah.
Right, so I think Eli's comparing that central tube with the wires wrapped around it to the Kundalini picture, perhaps. So I'll go back to
That's
the one
correct.
that...
Yeah, that sounds right.
Okay.
I'll go back
now,
to the copper one.
Let's okay, go back to the copper one. Let's expand on the knowledge.
Yeah.
Go back, because it's very interesting point to go back on.
No, it's a different
Nah.
one. It's a different picture. Rick.
A different
If you
picture?
go back on,
You know,
There is a pen
Rick,
with winding on
Rick,
it.
Pen.
there is a picture, a fish pump reactor. Is a sphere.
No, you show the wire winding around a coil around the central copper, and then there is like a pen with the winding around it again next to it.
Yes, is a electrodes.
I thought I just had that
we
one
go-
up. It looks like a
Yeah.
pen, a black thing with, and then the small wire
yes.
with wires wrapped around
Yeah.
it, right?
Go back to that.
Yeah, that's the one I had up there. Okay, I'll put that up again. I think it's the correct one.
Okay, can you explain to us what you see in this? Can you explain what you've done and what you see?
What I see in the tube, inside the tube, I see a wall. The
The tube, you're talking about the pen, the black thing, yeah?
now, the drawing.
Okay, so right now the picture just came through
No,
in the
the
live
pen-
stream. Is that the one that you both want to speak about? Is this the correct picture?
Yeah, this is like a pen and another wire with a coil around it. And there's a
Right.
coil around the black
Oops.
pen as well. It looks like a pen or a tube.
Yes. I think he used the pen or tube to create the coil because there's another picture of the little coil
Yes.
beside it. So that wire
Can
is
you
your...
explain? Can you
It's
explain?
a support.
this?
It's a support.
Okay, can you explain how you see this? Is the winding nanocoil?
It's a sensor. It's a sensor. Maybe
Right? I think you said it's
it's
nanocoated.
a because is easy. Is easy. Is you know, is sensible.
So that central core, that central wire, is that it's an actual tube that the little wires wrapped around then? Is that correct? And you would keep that tube?
This form in this picture show two different approach. A central approach in the research of the field. In my idea, in one side, my approach is by central column. On the other side, I put the electrodes in the external part. Just it. I don't have. It's a study because I don't have device for measurement.
Right, the measuring device. That's what everything comes down to. The measuring device is an electronic device or something else, and I still think it's something else.
All you see in this is a concept. Is a start. Is a you must develop. I don't have. I cannot. You know.
Hello? Yes? I'm here at the moment.
I can understand.
No, it's important to speak about what Luca was saying. What is he trying to? What can we measure? What does he measure?
Field.
Well, how do you measure the field? It's like your Apple. You had the Apple with two systems. What do those two systems measure?
Um,
And what is the difference between the measurements?
mhm. You must separate. Uh, Bon, the, the, the two, for example, in this
Well,
picture,
you have
in
to
this-
give it a different environment. You have to give it its own environment to be able to measure what is in that environment.
you have two wires. One wires take a certain type of measurement, or flux. For example, in this picture, you put on the right side the polarity, the positive on the right side. On the left right, you invert the polarity and observe. Is a first approach. Yes.
I see here somebody says to us, Amrock, that Elia could explain it. Can we bring Elia to see how she sees it as a medical side?
Just trying to bring her in here. Not sure if she can connect.
There's still building next door.
You know, the sun energy comes in one direction. The earth energy flux is in opposite direction.
Let
Yeah,
me
hello
explain.
guys.
Yeah, come in.
Can you hear me?
Yes, Ellie. Hi there. Are you still there?
Yes.
Okay. Maybe you can explain a little bit about what you were thinking about on the this central rod with the spiral wire on it.
Yeah, I just know the story because we spoke before time with Luca when he starts to make the example of his reactor. So he sent me a couple of pictures just to explain me what is his idea regarding the energy system of human body and if he is correct in his drawing. And he asked me if it's correct regarding the Kundalini because he is aware of it. And the meaning is that in human body you have a central channel, energy channel from first chakra to 7, and actually in that channel you receive energy from universe and you take down through all your body and take it out from your body from first chakra and goes to the earth, and then this is like a cycle. So actually in his reactor the central copper tube, this is that central energy channel in your energy body. And after that, around that channel, you have two more channels like copper wires running around, spinning around in the spiral around that channel. This is the Ida and Pindala in explanation of energy anatomy. Actually, Ida and Pindala, this is the two other channels around the central one, and they have opposite polarity. It is regarding your female or your main being. So one starts from minus, other one starts from plus, and then finish in the same polarity to the top. And that is explanation of Luca, that you have one central tube, and around the central tube you have two more other wires, and they have different current inside, like polarity, and then spinning around the central channel. And actually, because of that, you get two different outside torus, the left
Yeah.
and right side of the central channel. And because of two left side torus, finally you get the common one torus of your body. And actually the ring around the central tube, this is the vector of equilibrium. And his meaning is when you move the vector of equilibrium up and down, you are able to initiate different kind of movement. This is the meaning of tongue in our body. Do you understand? So actually, this ring, what you see now in the live stream around the sphere, this is the vector of equilibrium. And he tried to explain you, if you manage to move the vector of equilibrium in different position, then you are able to manage the movement of that sphere, because you positioning the sphere up to left to right regarding these two torus, what they made from the spinning wires around the central coin. And if you manage to move up and out in different direction, then you change the positioning of all the system, because you manage to position all the torus, all the system. You understand? And because of that, he named his drawing the Kundalini reactor. Do you understand now what is he tried to explain you all the time? If I'm clear.
Thank you, Ellie. I think that helped a bit. Yeah, that ring is movable up and down. That's
Yeah,
what
this is the vector
creates
of
the pressure.
equilibrium.
If we were not on the move, I would have shown you a system which the most advanced version of it is done with the nanomaterials or with GANs materials. In sometimes around about 2007-8, somewhere in that time, maybe before that, 2006-7, I was approached by, or I was asked by Mr. Wim de Grave, which you know who he is, to assess as a scientist the correctness of the design of a Belgian scientist, which this scientist, Dirk Lauressens, knows very well. I think he's still alive. He made two black boxes, which one still is in IMEC. And this black box creates energy out of nowhere. And it can create a lot of energies and on a constant basis and the rest. So this black box has been there for now, must be about 7, 8, 10 years, whatever. The gentleman who has designed the black box and the energy supply, he is in the same problem as me in a different way with Mr. what do you call it, the Belgian structure. With the same gang of people who interact with the scientists to get them in, to lure them to rub their sciences. So what they did, they asked me to look at this work. How is it possible that this black box can produce such energy? I said I will assess and let you know. To assess it, I had to build a system thinking in the same way as the scientist was doing. It took me some time, and understanding that the scientist was thinking in the matter level, it was very easy for me to replicate the system. So what I did, I explained back to Wim that the technology, his job is correct. He's producing energy out of nowhere. And they asked me, can we see it? I said, I made a copy or replication of it. Dirk Laurens knows about this. And his work is correct. If you want me to assess it as a, what do you call it, as another scientist, without you giving me the black box, what you're telling me, this is how it works, and it's correct, because he understood the work of Tesla in a matter state. What you shown, it's partially between a matter state and a matter plasma state, because you're still relying on nanolayers. In the system, for me to be able to confirm the correctness of it, that is correct, I've shown this, I think, to Marco and Arman have seen it. I sat and I developed different ways of winding a copper wire with a center of copper wire, the same as you've done, without nanocoating. And then I set out to create a motion in magnetic field through circular ring copper, what do you call it, coils. I wanted the coils in a specific way that it created continuous motion of the fields without observation of the motion. What does this mean? This means that as you, it's a very specific way to design these things. As you, in a coil system, you have to rotate a magnet that the coil can pick up the vibration of the change of the fields that you create current. But there is another way to produce matter current too. That is by perpetual motion, which is invisible but active in the matter state. So what you have, now your coil on the spine in the middle, the copper wire which goes right across, becomes the static part inside the rotating magnetic field or active magnetic field. What this means, you are at the present time, with the knowledge which man carries, all the coils sit outside and we rotate the magnet inside. The technology which this man has created is brought the coil inside with moving the magnets outside, but in an invisible way of motion. So as the current moves over to go through what we call a canonical structure, due to the variation in the favorite word of Marco, gradient in the strength, this creates a motion of magnetic fields, which that variation is absorbed in the matter level strength by the coil in the center. Now, that technology produces kilowatts. I have replicated it and it's correct. Now what you have to look at with what you've done is that inside the coil is a matter state. Outside the coil is a nano state. And then you have centralized the field with a center wire in a matter state. What you got to measure is the current flow in a matter state between the matter of the coil and the center wire. And if you can produce matter state electron vibration plasmatic level, then you can create huge amount of current. untold amount of current. What you showed us in the coil winding, you're replicating what we call it the Armand reactors, this little copper wire. This is the manifestation of the same thing, but going a step further. You are creating motion of plasmatic condition in the gas state interacting with the current flow of the plasmatic condition in the nanolayer, which if you can replicate it and duplicate it a number of times, can lead to AC current as you're looking for in the center column, which is a fraction of the fraction of the fraction of the total power. So what you show as a winding on the copper wire, if you twist it back on its own, go back the way Erik Clausen showed us by twisting. And then we've seen it in recently with Mike trying to explain it totally in his way of thinking, which is not a plasmatic way, but a matter state way. And then understanding that how magnetic field in a plasma condition work, then you understand how you can increase power without actually doing anything. I tried to put the camera on, but I'm going to lose something else with it. Let's see if I can do it, and then I explain to you. You have to bear with me for a few seconds. We are moving.
Yeah, let's. We can get set up for that in the meantime, and please
No,
check
let
your
me
mic
explain.
as well.
I speak because I'm moving. So what you have to understand, go.
We don't see the video.
No, I haven't put it on yet. You got to be patient.
Okay. Okay. Sorry.
Okay? Be patient. Be patient. Stop here. If you can see it, we'll try to charge it. There's all sorts of things here because we are on a makeshift table at the moment. Can you see it?
Just getting set up. It's black actually right now.
It's black.
Yeah, we have a black screen.
Oh, yeah. I know why you have a black screen. Your screen is black because I have to go to my preferences and do your job. Preferences, okay. I've got to go to the camera. Camera, yeah, it's a FaceTime. Just wait, logic camera, yes. It's coming up.
It's just resetting itself. Yes, it just came up there now.
Yeah.
Okay, we have a camera image.
We have a
Looking
camera
through
shadow.
very shortly on the live stream.
Yeah,
You
it's
can
good.
see it. Oh,
If you could check your mic, please.
my mic is very good. Hi.
It's a lovely microphone.
You know, we don't believe in advanced technology in Keshe Foundation. It's still stuck in donkeys and all sorts of things. Okay.
It's the tin can with the string that's hard to hear sometimes.
Yeah, it's just the head moves too much. It's too heavy to keep it in one place. There's nothing in it, but it moves too much. Okay, now. Okay, I'll try because I don't have a big marker. Let's see what we can show you. You showed an apple. Now, this apple has a field which goes through it and it comes out of it. Now, if I put another apple here, so we call it this positive negative in talking about plasma has to end because we don't have a positive negative. We have entry and exit. If you get to that point, then you solve half of the problem. So what you have a magnetic field which is exit to entry. Yeah? And then you have the same here. You have an exit to entry. Now, what you have done, be it in a matter state or non-matter state, you have
Asia.
In this place, in this state, in the first two, as you go in a plasma, and as you explained, due to the decay and adding of the energy from the principal matter coming out to the plasma, to the edge of plasma or a reactor, your field, let's say, enters at 1 and exits at 1 plus E. Whatever energy it has added to its mass to come out from the top. Where this energy is lost in the process, partially with the environment, when it enters at the South Pole, or what you call South Pole, what we call it entry. Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, so now you have an energy of 1 plus E, which, as goes by the same principle in the plasma, comes out 1 plus E plus E. Because now it's gained energy from this plasma too, which partially, part of this energy here at 1E is equal to what is entering the other exit too, because it's lost in the process, in the interaction with other fields. So you have a loss here of E minus the losses in the transition. But what you've shown, and this is something you have to understand. I don't expand on it because you have to add to your knowledge by whatever you call it, by understanding the totality, is that now you have a plasma and you have the same plasma here in the same position. Now you have added another plasma in the center. You have locked, because of the physicality, the axes are totally locked in. Now you have brought in additional power supply, meaning in the state of the GaNs or nano layer. So what you have here at the exit is 1 plus E, which because of the pressure cannot do anything, has to come and go in the matter state in the nano layer and be added. The same will go the same way, where this state of matter is adding energy to the entry. The same way is adding energy to the entry, which the more energy is added, there are no losses on the magnetic field level. So you start creating a loop of energy production. One thing which none of you have understood up to now is how close you have to bring these two together, if I go further up, that you can force the losses of nanomaterial to 0, but at the same time forcing the nano coating to release energy in a plasmatic level. If you can understand this and you can force the issue, then you break into a layer lower than the nano layer, which is the higher energy power. Don't forget the principle of the plasma. The plasma increases its energy as it goes to the center, because the principal matter unwinds this way. Nobody, none of you have managed to cross this comprehension, this level of understanding, and that's why you are stuck between the two levels of matter and all sorts of games. You are dealing with a matter state and electron vibration between these two, but at this stage, through the nano, you are releasing huge amount of energy, which is in a field level, not in a matter level. And you cannot harvest it. because you are looking in the wrong direction for what to you in matter state is correct. So what you got to do, if you're going to expand this and measurement and the system, and I've seen discussions going around the forums, look at the structure of what I suggested to Arman, and Arman has made a very good copies of it, but still is not reaching it. This is your copper tube, matter. Then you have a nano layer. Then you have a GaNs added. Then you have a nano layer. And then you have the matter. This is the matter and this is the nano layer. Now, if you go back in what I explained in this picture, and if you look at the structure which is here, then you see you have a nanomaterial, you have a GaNs of the material in the plasma in more freer state which can release more energy, and then you have another material which can absorb it in a way of matter state in electron, if you are interested in this. You have to find a way where you work between this layer and this layer, not between this layer and the matter inside. This is where you're all losing so much power and you don't see it. If in the coming time we put an aura detector around this, you will see how much the aura of the pipe changes. What we're doing with this layer, with the power supply which is added to it, is by putting another coil inside, which is again has a combination of a matter and nano layer. We are trying to force the release of more nano into a GaNs state to pressurize the current flow in this barrier in the center. So in fact, the copper wire inside is getting forced to accept more and more of a plasmatic packages of energy in an electron magnetic field vibration strength. Listen to exactly what I said. I chose the words very, very carefully. You look for a current in the shape of electron vibration, a current. What you are collecting is a residual of leftover of what the plasmas in interaction with the matter state have released in a plasmatic condition as equal packages of energy as what electron vibration will do between two bands of its orbit around the electron in the matter state. So what you have to push, what you have to extend to the knowledge is to understand the vibration and the distance and a gap between these two points in the electron vibration in a matter state. Then you can produce millions and millions of kilowatts from the same process, but you collect it in a plasmatic condition, not in a matter condition. Then you are actually looking for something which is going over your head and you don't see it. And this is where I saw the pictures, I saw the windings you do, but somehow you have not come to comprehend this simple explanation. If you can understand this simple explanation, you can make power systems in gigawatts. Because when the energy enters coming from the North Pole, or coming from what you call it, entry and exit of anyone, when the energy enters, comes in 1 plus E plus the energy from the plasma which is being released to it, added to it. So by the time it goes through the center, it's already added and it gets added. So you have such a perfect amplifier of plasmatic energy, and none of you have used it up to now because you don't understand it. This circle here could be the wire which is nano-coated, or this circle in here can be the plasma of a GaNs. You have not, and you will have a problem till you come or you do not understand the implication and application of plasmatic magnetic fields. A specific magnetic field, SEPMAF, what we call in the very first book, very first chapter. You have to find that a specific plasmatic gravitational magnetic field package of a plasma which opens the key to universal energy. Then, from the wires you showed, from the system we have developed here, you can drain what you need when you need. I reckon it'll take you, as at this level, maybe those who understand it and don't work between the matter and a plasma, maybe 2 years. And those who understand it can achieve it by tomorrow. You have to extend the knowledge, but by extending it, you have to understand what it does. You do the same thing when you eat a banana. When the banana enters your digestion system, it becomes in a GaNs state. It means it adds to the energy that allows the energy to expand and for it to extract. In so many ways, if you understand this enforced pressure on the matter state due to the flow of plasma or presence of the plasma, then you enter the universal energy source. And is unlimited. You have to create.
This depends on the strength of that nano. Sorry about the delay.
No, don't worry.
To be able to do what you're saying, though.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So this is the point. This is the point. Sorry, I'm trying to talk to you at the same time, guiding people what to load. It's not very easy. This explains in so many ways why at the moment there is so much problem with people around the chat rooms and others in trying to observe flow or current. This is what I explained to Armand and Marco. What we done in this copper tube, and I explain it again that maybe we can understand it better, is that we have made a copper tube, nano-coated. I do in one side because otherwise I'll be going everywhere. Then we have put a coil, which again has a nano coating on it. Then we have put in a GaNs. Then you have put in a copper wire, which on it is nano coating. What we are doing, we have connected this to a power supply. A very low, 0 voltage, 0.1 amp, 0.2 amp, 0.3 amps, we are increasing it. The reason we are doing this is that by introducing current to the coil, we are releasing, as you all have seen, creating nanolayers, which because of the salt condition we have created in here, releasing these nanomaterials as we can to push them to become a GaNs, that the push exertion on the GaNs materials to the center nanomaterial leads to more pressure on the nanomaterials on here to release their energy as electron packages vibration in the center, that you can observe current flow between the two. Let's go back here. Just 1 second, please. Those go in the big container box. Yeah. So what you have to realize, what you have to understand further, is that we are creating a plasmatic magnetic gravitational pressure. This is what the intention is. At what point we manage to release enough material from this plate, from the coil which is placed, that's the point when the gravitational magnetic field of the nanolayer here and the nanolayer here tune to be the same, and you get a massive reduction and release of energy. And this is the part which is not understood and is keep on getting extended on. When you make these coils, try to understand. A scientist at you have to understand the process of conversion of plasma energy in a plasmatic condition. You just make the tools, you put a nano coating, you wind it, but you don't understand the total concept. It's very much for those who have a physics background. You put a gas in, you increase the pressure, the gas becomes liquid, and then it transition goes to a solid. Even in the solid state, it's still active matter, but on the outer layers which is behaving as a matter state. That's, as I said in the last talks, the misconception about the minus 270 degrees, that everything will freeze, there is no electron movement. This is the lack of understanding of the man. If the electron does not move around and does not have a vibration around its center by exchange of gravitational magnetic field plasma, then you have achieved the state of GaNs. Because now they become unified gas, unified entity, you become unified plasma. This is exactly what you do in this process, as has been done by creating minus 200, 300 degrees to stop. But here you're trying to find the point of the balance between the two fields, and your material is of the same of the two. Copper, nano-coated, copper, nano-coated. You can do it with plastic. You can do it with wood. This is, if you go back and understand this and can replicate it, then it should be very easy to make tools of the measurement for any gravitational magnetic field without even observing and knowing and detecting or being on the point of observation of the field or the matter. You feel the pressure of universe on your system. You feel the pressure of the galaxy on your system. Then you know which system where creates what pressure. Then it gives you a point that you have to tune into it to be able to be attracted in the opposite direction very much as this system. And if you can do, then your reactor not only gets attracted, but it releases your energy for consumption inside your system. You tap into universal energy. You tap into zero time travel. You tap into zero time communication. Then you dictate the speed of communication. Then you dictate the speed of travel. As you go inwards to the center of the plasma strength, you go out by the speed of magnitude. 100 times the speed of light, 1,000,000,000 times the speed of light. 1,000,000,000,000 times the speed of light. Because now you travel at the strength which you have matched, not what you have achieved at the speed of light on the matter entity, because you have passed the matter border of the plasma. And if you understand this, in no time, the scientists who understand this can create motion, information transmission, time of travel. This is where I explained to Armin and Marco what could be made, and Armin has made the system. But you all trying to replicate, or some of you are trying to understand it, but understand what sits behind it, what means to work in this way. I kept on telling you in the past, you have to create gravitational plasmatic pressure. Now you see how it's done. Some of you weeks ago went and showed us you can create GANs without caustic by adding a little bit of energy. And I explained to you how you're doing it, and now it's done because you're going the same way. You're creating enough heat on the top layer of the element that is not enough to radiate, but is enough to release the top layer. Resistance between the matter as a copper and the air as a gas. The problem with you understanding is you have done this every day of the winter. You plug in the electricity, your wire, and the coil heats up and you take its heat. Because you are used to in megawatts and kilowatts. You buy electric heater for 2 kilowatt, 10 kilowatt. And then you say, oh, it's too much money to pay, I stay cold. But go down to microamp and nanoamps, then you release the nanomaterial as you've seen it. And then you use the power of what you released as a nanomaterial in the gas state to release the power of the universe. And this is what you, as totality, have in time of teaching, will learn. And this is what I tell you, you live between a schizophrenic, between one another, and you don't know where you are. You have to create enough pressure that allows the gate of the energy as given magnetic gravitational field strength to open up. It's you who has to find out at what level, what mixture. That's why we are, as I always say, we are pushing with collaboration with the Japanese. Deuterium, the way people say, I can get it on that, is no good to us. Deuterium at the energetic level that become a GANs, and it has to be created through plutonium, which is the easiest way, is what the Japanese are sitting on. The gamma rays which they penetrate, you have to find plasmatic gamma rays which can extract their energy. And it's very easy. Every atom does it every day. Because you have to understand these plasmatic pressure and the work of the plasmatic pressure. And then, if you understand this, you go a step further, which is, in fact, let me clean the table out because everything's here. What you do is you increase plasmatic pressure to each other. The loop, look at the loop. You increase the power by order of magnitude, not from the beginning, but by absorbing more and more and more and more, because there are no losses, but you get addition to. Because in a plasmatic condition, you have another set which sits the same. So this passage of flow of energy, you dictate. And this is exactly, if you understand it, is your copper wire with a winding. And then at the same time, if once you have a copper wire, why don't you use 2 copper wires nano-coated, twisted together? So you have your copper wire, you take 1 nanomaterial, winding, you get a second copper wire, winding. Make 1 copper, make 1 aluminium. Make 1 copper, make 1 zinc. Then you can measure the magnetic gravitational field flow of your environment according to the matter state in the universe. You can do it in a much easier way because this wire in the center and this double loop to the top is the structure of the human body. Two legs. Why do you think you got 2 legs? They are not there for walking. And they're not there for dancing. Nano-gans material. If I can show it to you. Energy connected to your bone, to your hip, start the cycle. As in a way Mike was trying to explain in Mike Harris shows, but in a matter state which went totally wrong in so many ways, you have created your double loop. Now maybe you understand how chakras in strength increase. At the bottom, you have the chakra of the earth. At the top, you achieve the chakra of the universe. Why they increase and they change? Because of the organs within the body dictates the condition. And this is what you have to replicate. It is so vital that it can lead to intelligence. But if you can lead, you can produce it. It can lead to anything you want to achieve. The process is very simple. The process is to understand plasmatic pressure and how to create it without relying on the matter state. Then you find out why the body, for example, in the body of man, you have glands. This is a topic I've asked Dr. Elia to do for next session. You have the legs, the energies come, plus what enters you. Then you look at the glands, the position of the glands in respect to the loop and increase of energy. Their position, the kidneys, then the others. They control how much energy is allowed to go up, and depending on the position of the glands and their operation, they dictate the intelligence of the man. And then they dictate the strength of the soul of the man. The structure, there is no copper wires in your body, and there is no nano layers in your body come an electric shock creating it. But a very low gravitational magnetic fields, even in the lining of your intestine, locks in to what is inside passing to what is outside to transmit, to convert it back into energy in a lymph. And you look how much energy is created. Very simply, you try to keep a, let's say 50 kilogram at 37 degrees right across the whole structure in any shape or form you like. Then you understand how much energy is released through the same process as you shown on a wire, without any wire. You try to keep 50 kilogram of water at a constant 37 degrees 24 hours a day for 50 years. You need a power station. Understanding that temperature has to be controlled everywhere, and you can take energy, that this water doesn't stand still and is floating, thinking, working, and everything else as well with it. So how come it's so hard for you lot to be able to extract this energy in your systems? Your body does it constantly, every day, from the minute you were conceived to the day you die. If you go back on electronic vibration, as you like to call it, electrical current, it is, as Dr. Elia said in one of the talks, I think it's when you die, you release something like 18 Hiroshima bombs. Energy of. Where does this energy come from? A banana or a carrot? Because the body has learned how to convert. Not to convert, but how to use accordingly when it's needed, at a point it's needed. You measure temperature at the matter state in electron vibration. Once you have the tool, measure the power in a plasmatic condition. You'll be amazed. A simple way of how much heat or energy is released is your aura. The color changes. If there was an energy radiated, it couldn't have interacted with the atmospheric gravitational magnetic field to create a color that is visible to you. So go back to the drawing board, go back to understanding the totality. Then you can produce energy systems which are to your level in mega kilojoules and the rest. Because then you push enough in plasmatic magnetic field level to be able to bridge or cross a field strength in the plasma. Then you can tap in a higher energy level than the matter level as much as you need. So, in fact, what you do in a plasma, you dictate your energy according how much you go in and out of the outer layer of the plasma. Higher energy, you don't need it, you go back. And then this energy, if it's used the way you would do it with the star formation, would you like to go with the speed of beyond your imagination, or would you like to go with the speed of donkey? And at the moment you're there. But if you come slightly inner, because that energy has to cross from here to become the energy of a donkey. So it must be huge amount. Because even in a small gap in the plasmatic condition of the plasma, there is huge amount of losses and interactions between the other fields which are within that plasma. It's not all hunky-dory, all going the same way. There is plasmas, directional flow, friction, lower strength, higher strength, becoming higher and becoming lower. So the structure has to be understood. And as I said, we shown for the first year how this is done, how you can create the fuel. Up to now, you have learned how to make fuel and how to play with this fuel. None of you have crossed to start using the fuel, understanding the fuel. I was explaining this very recently some time ago to an oil minister. Oils were gushing out of earth for millions of years. We never understood what we can do with it. Till we made the cars and then we found the use for them. It's the same. Plasmatic energy has been available to the man from the time of his inception because it's part of his inception. But you've been blind to it. We chose to be blind to it because we didn't understand the work of the universe. Now you have to understand the work of the universe as you're doing, and then start working in that level. Then what you can get from the tube you showed me, or whatever almonds tube, is more than all the nuclear and thermal and hydraulic power stations and power supplies on this planet from that little tube. Because you tap into the universal energy. And when you can tap, is not what energy is in that cup which is given. It's the energy which matches the universal energy, delivers what it is in the universe as you need it. Endless. This is what you have to extend the knowledge. And I said to you, and I repeat it, you've been very active, very busy with how to make fuel. Now you made the fuel. Now start learning how to measure it and how to manipulate it to give it what you need. But walk away from the physicality. Work with the plasma within the structure of the plasma. Then you push the plasma, you play with the plasma. You encourage it, you crush it, you get whatever you like out of it. It gives you a banana, and it gives you steel, and it gives you gold and plutonium from the same plasma. Again, I repeat for you to understand. As the energy here in the plasmatic is hydrogen, here is plutonium. Which material and the strength you want to be. Because don't think of matter state of the energy. Look at the plasmatic gravitational magnetic field of the plasma. And the strength of the plasma at that point, which is equal to plutonium. Then you have the attribute of a plutonium without any plutonium, but you achieve what you want to achieve. Then, at that point, out of plutonium, you can make as many bananas as you like because you can divide the energy. You tap into it to divide it. Here, on the edge, you are given the leftovers and you're happy with leftovers. The crumbs. because that's a matter state. Now with the knowledge, you decide what that crumb to be, or to taste like, or to behave like. This is time that now we move into the maturity of the knowledge. We've seen it with our friends in the Spanish group. They start playing with the fields of it in agriculture, how it'll affect. We've seen it with Eric Larson in Germany, that he says the fields, the plant in the cold of the winter is still there green. We've seen it with our Chinese colleagues, the beautiful job they did, and nobody understood. He just looked at the picture and it's still there with the Chinese program. The way the leaves stays green. Why do they stay green? Why don't they freeze? Have you asked yourself that question? Why the roots are short? Why the roots behave this way? There is no difference between the plant next door, which dies, or what do you call it, frost kills it. What has it changed? Nothing. The GANs in the ground has created an environment around the plant that allows the temperature or the cold, what you call it, at a certain condition of the matter state to be as what's inside, so it does not affect. When you have a wind and a stone, you break the glass. When the pressure both sides is the same and you cannot create it because it's all the same, you don't do anything, it stays the same and it works the same. Understand a fundamental point in especially people who work in agriculture. The leaf is the skin for a GANs of the entity of existence. No one works closer with the GANs on a daily basis than the farmers, but they look at it as a matter state. And if the agriculturists start looking in the GANs state, in the plasmatic state, in the structure of the plants, then you will find and you will tap into the energy source, food, magnetic field strength that it can give you everything without ever you growing anything. The teaching is becoming very, very direct, but very open. Now you understand why we kept on teaching the health, the agriculture, the material, the energy, and the plasma. Now, it was a good way, it's a correct way. Now you see the narrow-mindedness is not there. You're open, you see the everything, and you have to bring what you see in one place to another to educate yourself to understand the totality. Any questions?
Thank you, Mr. Keshe. That was very fantastic.
Yes, thank you.
I've seen all the comments on live stream. Thanking you for that as well.
No, we don't need to be thanked. We are here to learn from each other. But we have to understand the things we learn, the process we learn has to be the correct way. It is very hard to re-educate. And the problem with the Foundation's work is to re-educate, that to understand there is nothing wrong with you, what you've been taught. This is additional information that has a different aspects and look in the whole structure. I have to stop in 10 or 15 minutes, unfortunately, because we have to move. This is our last day in this premises. We are leaving for Bari. So I have to stop at 11 o'clock to finish the transportation. And if there are any questions, it's beautiful the way we see new people coming and showing what they've done. And I see a lot of new things around. I keep an eye on as much as possible. Come on the live stream, come on the, what do you call it, Skype, and teach us. It's very nice to see how an apple and the nanomaterial are connected. Each one of you has a beauty of his own and his own knowledge. Have enough confidence that you're not wrong. You just add to the knowledge. You don't know what and who learned something from the apple.
I, for one, learned a lot from this Apple experiment. I found it very inspiring, the concept of being able to take the maggrav field of an apple and measure it. And I think it's actually possible to do now. Before I didn't have a concept how to do that. Now I have a plan how I want to proceed in order to do that. And I know, Luca has his way of proceeding. Others have their inspiration that they get in their own ways. And surely one of us will have something really solid that comes out of it. Maybe not everyone, but it doesn't require everyone to do it. It just requires one path that works fairly well, and then we bounce off of that and carry on. It's an incredible process, and there's so many people all over the world now that are trying these relatively simple, inexpensive, relative to some laboratories, experiments, and they're getting success in terms of increasing their knowledge and especially their understanding by actual hands-on learning. And it's
You know, a lot of
amazing.
housewives become scientists through these teachings. A lot of housewives are testing,
Well,
are seeing what they can do. Change
it's a,
something else. Let's say something. Just 1 second, please. Change the apple to the planet Earth.
exactly, and this is the great thing about the apple. Is such a perfect insignia in a way. It's with Newton and had the apple, and he so-called discovered gravity and so on, so we're supposed to believe. But this is a perfect analogy of the apple is like the Earth, like you say, or the solar system, the galaxy. And if we can tune into an apple, then we can tune into the Earth, the solar system, a galaxy, and so on. And this is, I truly believe that this is possible to do. And not only that, we can tune into the apple sitting there, and then if we were to rotate that apple, it would be a different signature that we get off it. But we should be able to get that signature and that difference once we have that apple tuned in, basically, to our systems. So I think it's quite exciting. I feel like we've turned a page here, and we're sort of dedicated toward finding ways of detecting the fields that are involved with using the fields to detect the fields, basically, without getting the matter too much into the matter. So
can I change topics really quick because there was 2 questions inside on the live stream that was from a lot earlier. I think they're fairly simple and quick to answer, so I know you don't have much time. And one of them is, Mr. Kesh, could you please explain what happens to the magrevs of Earth, Moon, and Sun during a solar eclipse, as in tomorrow?
Not much. Slight changes. If you go back to the structure of the pyramids and the energy flow when they're in line, then you might understand, depending which source is in what position. And then you have, in so many ways, a change in the field in respect to the Earth and the Moon, not necessarily at all anything to do with the Sun. In these linings, the weaker absorb huge amount of energy which is not available for them during non-alignment. It becomes exactly the picture which I showed. I was drawing, if I can find it.
That's right. The same. I just realized that's the same drawing you showed before with the 3 circles, right?
Yes, you have to see in reality the position of which one is sitting where. which one is the
We
strongest.
we have a black screen again, Mr. Kesh. I think you know the routine.
I unplugged myself. That's why. I'm going to plug myself again in. Okay. Maybe you can see it. If you're
Okay,
back
so
on,
it's
it's
just
the
starting.
same.
There we go. Yes, thank you. Perfect.
It's the same position as tomorrow.
Right.
Where is the source? Where is the weaker? And what is transmitted? But understand one point, that on the upper atmosphere of any of the planets, any existing plasma, interaction is in a Gans state, not in a matter state. A matter state comes to exist when the gravitational magnetic field of the matter has a direct effect on the totality of the fields within the structure of the atomic structure. All the materials on the upper layer of Earth behave and exist as a Gans, not as a matter. When they come down enough, close enough, get attracted and interact with the Earth gravitational magnetic field, which they lose part of their energy, that becomes the heat of the atmosphere of the Earth, they attain matter state. The conversion is exactly the conversion in your stomach. The conversion is exactly the same what you've seen in the, what do you call it, salt containers. Don't forget something which I try to emphasize but nobody understands. The salt in the sea leads to conversion of Gans from the gas. The salt content in a gas state converts the gas to a matter state. And Earth atmosphere is a gas, salt gas. In a space when you want to feed yourself, in a matter level, that to become the matter you want a pure calcium or you want pure, let's say, sodium, in a matter state. In our containers, we used liquid state of salt. In an atmospheric condition is a gas state of salt, which converts the gas into a matter state by loss of the energy into the environment, which leads to the heating of the planet at a constant rate. It's exactly the same operation anywhere in the universe. You need a medium to convert a state of matter. In your CO2 boxes, the medium was water and salt. It led to you having a solid state as a Gans, as a plasma. In the atmospheric condition of the planet, in majority of the time, depending on the strength of the gravitational magnet of the source, the environment and the recipient, the gases in the atmosphere which attain a salt condition gas lead to conversion of the gas into the solid state of matter and the heating of the planet or the entity. And then you understand that the life is not exclusivity of the inner surface of this planet. Life, intelligence exists above, from here to eternity. It's for us who has been blind to it. If you understood how you converted through the salt gases from the Gans state to the nanomatter into amino acid, because they were already in the Gans state that they came together and made amino acid. They did not convert to the matter state because the environment does not allow it, because you created a new condition. This is the secret of life, creation of life in the universe. So what you have a salt in the water, you created life on the surface of the water. You have a salt in the air. Now you can imagine the life exists within the atmosphere of this planet, which you are not aware of, and above in the upper atmosphere, and even in the plasma of this solar system and the plasma of the universe. Life is not exclusivity of this planet. Even the solar system, in the plasma of this solar system, there is what we call the solar salt. In the universe, in the galaxies, they have the same. And this salt, which is, you call it salt, but we call it conversion condition, leads to existence of life and intelligence at any point in the universe. I was explaining this some time ago. If you're worried you're a vegetarian, you don't like eat meat, let me show you what you breathe in every day, what you eat, of the entities of intelligence which you are not aware of, as they convert from the gans into life existence in the air you breathe in. Then if you understand this, you'll find out how easy you can manipulate man to exist for eternity, even in physical form. You are used to seeing a fish, then you're eating something. It's about 11 o'clock, and I have unfortunately to leave today.
Excellent. I'm really intrigued by the idea of solar salt. I'm sure we can bring that up again in another workshop.
It's everywhere. You call it salt, we call it conversion medium.
Yes, I'd like to discuss about conversion mediums again sometime.
Thank you.
Have a good trip, Mr. Kesh, and we'll talk to you when you're down there.
This is goodbye from Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute at the Sansana for the last time. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you for all the things you've broadcast from that location. And that, I believe...
Yes, lots of learning on that location.
Yes, excellent. Many
And
workshops.
there will be a lot more to go, right? It doesn't end here. It's just the beginning.
Yes, indeed. The new location and hopefully some new technology to work with that'll be even more improved from what we've had, which is relatively crude, actually. Considering the time and history we're at, you'd think we'd have a little more sophisticated, easy to run stuff, but so be it.
Are you talking about live stream or are you talking about GANs?
The whole thing, I guess.
Yeah,
it'll get easier as we go along.
That's right.
Anyway, I guess we'll end the workshop here. That's been a very interesting workshop. Thank you, everybody, for attending the 54th Keshe Knowledge Seekers workshop. That's it for now.